Hi folks, Canadian Prepper here. So I just want to give you some up-to-date intel that I've received. I've been getting these messages left and right since I've been making these videos where I've been sharing the intel I've been receiving from various military personnel and people in the know from around the world. I just get sent more and more of these messages, so I'm going to share them with you today so you can get a heads up and a head start about what is coming. Now, we've been warning people about this for the last couple months, and all of a sudden today, the stock market's seeing red. All the financial channels are freaking out. They're selling all their stocks. It's going to get wild. It's going to get crazy. This could be the black swan event that tanks the stock market. So I want people to be ready. Now, that said, it could crash the market, but the market could bounce back if the market realizes that this is going to be a proxy engagement. Because I think right now people are seeing World War III. I got to be straight up honest with you guys. That's what the market is seeing right now. So expect that oil prices are going to go up. Hopefully people in Europe, if I have people in Europe who watch this, I hope your pantries are stocked to the rafters. I hope you got those gas tanks and jerry cans filled up, because things could get pretty serious in the not so distant future. Now, we had that press conference today where the U.S. officials were basically saying that, they think that Putin is going to attack and blah, blah, blah. And who really knows what that means? If you've been watching my most recent videos lately, you know that this situation is a lot more complicated than Putin just wants to attack the Ukraine, okay? It's a lot more complicated than that. There's a lot of other things which could potentially trigger this whole thing to go off, and it doesn't necessarily just involve sole Russian aggression for the sake of it because they want to expand the Russian Empire. It's a lot more complicated, so go and watch my previous videos on it. But I want to share a couple emails that I've received with you guys so you can know what is coming. So I'm not going to reveal any identifiers for this person, so let's just get to it. So I am a longtime subscriber to your channel. Keep my name private for all intensive purposes. But I want to inform you of some news that came from a friend of mine who is in the United States military. So this is kind of a friend news, but we'll take it with a grain of salt. My friend is being prepared to be deployed to Eastern Europe. For this email, we will call my friend Bob. Bob is saying that a large amount of troops could be deployed in the near future, much higher figures than being discussed right now. Bob said that the military is actively transporting a large amount of supplies, weapons, and other wartime essentials to Europe. And of course, this would be consistent with a video I did yesterday where I shared that information that was provided to me by the pilot who's working for the private firm who was basically shuttling armaments or whatever other precious unknown cargo he was shuttling over there. This was the only information that could be shared, as the rest of what Bob had to say was classified. So I'm not sure how up in the chain of command Bob is, but we'll have to assume he knows something. The U.S. military is preparing for a war with Russia and its allies. Feel free to share this message, but keep my name private. Everything that came from Bob can be shared. Okay, take that one for what it's worth. I've heard a lot of reports of military equipment being moved throughout the U.S. on trains, although that is something which happens quite frequently. Now, I want to read another email that I received. This one is related to cyber attack, and this is one that we really need to pay attention to, because I think this one may catch people by surprise if things do start to pop off. And if we start seeing cyber attacks, that's when you know we are inching closer to an actual full-on, full-scale engagement between NATO and Russia and its allies. I'm based in the UK and work in the telecoms industry, a major worldwide mobile telecoms company. I'm heavily involved in the current 5G rollout. Now, just save your conspiracy stuff, okay? This is more serious than that, so just listen to what he has to say, or she. I don't know if it's a he or she. On Monday, there was a huge cyber attack against Vodafone Portugal. The entire network went down as a result of this attack. As it stands right now, only 3G service had been partially restored. 4G and 5G, which carry the bulk of mobile data traffic, is still off the air. This type of attack has never been carried out before. The hackers now have direct experience of bringing down an entire national mobile phone network. There is concern that in the industry that this could happen again. I'm aware that it is not known who carried out this cyber attack and what their motive is. This has the hallmarks of originating from a nation state. If you've watched my previous videos on cyber attacks, you know that it requires a lot of resources to pull off a hack like that, and typically it does stem from some sort of nation state. As you know, any major war against Russia or China would be preceded by a large-scale cyber attack against NATO states. This could happen at any time, especially at a time of great international tension. If another operator in the West goes down as a result of cyber attack, I would be certain it is the start. This info may be of use to your viewers, and I know you will be discreet about your source. A search for Vodafone Portugal on Google does not show news articles for this cyber attack. Now, a lot of these cyber attacks, I suspect, are kept secret. For one, there's always that ransomware issue where you don't want, it's kind of like how you don't report active shooter's name because you don't want to give them any, you don't want to draw attention to it, and you don't want copycats. Same way, I believe that they're trying to limit panic on the one hand, and these companies obviously don't want this news to get out if they can help it because they don't want their stocks to be compromised or whatever. But you also don't want to give people incentive to do this in the future, so you don't want to call too much attention to it. Now, absolutely, we will start to see these sorts of failures, okay? We've been seeing these for the last year now. We've seen the gas pipeline issue. We've seen it with the airplanes and the airports. All aspects of critical infrastructure can be hacked nowadays because there are computer systems behind all those things, whether that's water treatment facilities, heating, natural gas flows, the power grid, okay, telecommunications, hospitals, it's all wired in. I made a video about cyber attack and what the first 24 hours of a global cyber war would look like. I would encourage you to go and check out that video. It's a little bit exaggerated, but I do that so that you can see all the various things which might be impacted. We cover everything in that video, so go and check it out. Anyways, guys, I just wanted to give you a heads up that this situation, as we've been telling you for months now, is finally starting to come to a head. And in my own personal opinion, it starts to look like NATO, or at least one side of NATO, is looking for a war. And this could potentially mean that there's not going to be a pipeline to Europe, which means that those gas prices are going to stay sky high. So, like I say, for all my European viewers, I hope you guys are prepping hard right now because, you know, we have the luxury of being across the pond, although this is going to affect everybody. Everybody's going to be pulled into this. Nobody is going to be safe. And the people who are closest to the front lines, they're the ones who are going to have it roughest at first. But the supply chain is going to have a ripple effect. Everybody is going to have to eat some, you know what, some people's pieces are going to be bigger than others. But I would encourage you, stock up, gear up now if you can, because it's looking like this market could tank. This could tank the market. Dead serious. This could be the black swan event that triggers the next massive correction. However, I just want to provide this one caveat to that argument. This actually could be a bit of a head fake with the markets too. We may see a major initial correction, kind of like what we've seen in March 2020, and it may bounce back when people realize that this is likely going to be a limited proxy engagement. Now, I want to say, for people who are watching this in the Ukraine, I don't think you're going to see the wholesale bombardment of civilian cities. I just cannot see that in any way, shape, or form. That's the last thing you want to do, not only from an international war crimes perspective, but also it just looks bad, and you're never going to win the hearts and minds of people. So I don't think that it's going to necessarily progress to that. I think that targets are going to be primarily military based, and that might be common sense for people in the know of military things. But I think a lot of people who may not understand these sorts of things might think that, you know, they're just going to start dropping bombs on everybody over there. I can't see that happening. There's nothing for them to gain by doing that. If anything, it's going to be the annexation piece by piece of various points that Russia deems to be strategic. Okay, I don't even want to say that Russia is going to invade, because we all know that there's two sides to this story. There's definitely two sides to this story. And if they're talking about putting those anti-ballistic missiles in the Ukraine, you can totally understand why Russia doesn't want that in their backyard. I mean, would we want anti-ballistic missiles in Cuba or Mexico? You know, probably not, especially if they belong to to Russia, right? So anyways, something to think about, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Canadian Prepper out.